The Fox and the Forest Followers. Once upon a time, in a dense forest, there lived a clever fox named Felix. Felix was known for his silver tongue and his ability to persuade others. He could mimic the sounds of other animals and even create illusions with his cunning tricks. One day, Felix decided that he wanted to gather a group of animals to follow him. He believed that by having a loyal following, he could gain more power and influence in the forest. First, Felix looked for animals who were unhappy or felt insecure. He found a rabbit named Ruby who was constantly afraid of being caught by hawks. Felix approached Ruby and said, "Dear Ruby, I have a vision of a safe haven where no predator can harm you. Join me, and I will protect you with my magic." To demonstrate his power, Felix performed a trick where he made a shadow that looked like a hawk and then banished it with a wave of his paw. Ruby, impressed and desperate for safety, agreed to join Felix. Next, Felix found a bird named Benny, who was tired of the long migrations every year. Felix promised Benny a permanent home where he wouldn't have to fly long distances anymore. He showed Benny a beautiful clearing in the forest, saying, "This will be our new home, where all animals live in peace and equality." Benny, weary from his travels, joined Felix's group. Felix continued to recruit more animals, each with their own reasons for feeling discontent. He promised them all safety, comfort, and a sense of belonging in his utopian forest. Once he had a sizable group, Felix started to organize daily meetings where he would speak about his vision for the future. He would tell stories of a perfect forest where all animals were equal, with no predators or hunger, and where he, Felix, was the wise leader who made it all possible. During these meetings, Felix encouraged the animals to praise each other and himself, creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere. This made the new members feel valued and part of something special. However, Felix also set strict rules. He told the animals that they must not speak to anyone outside the group, as outsiders could not be trusted and might bring danger to their utopia. He said that only by staying together and following his guidance could they achieve their goals. To enforce these rules, Felix would occasionally single out an animal who questioned his authority or broke a rule. He would have the entire group criticize and shame that animal, making them feel isolated and wrong for doubting Felix. Felix also had the animals repeat certain phrases every day, such as, "Felix is our guide, Felix is our protector, Felix will lead us to paradise." Through constant repetition, these ideas became deeply ingrained in their minds. To further control them, Felix would sometimes create false alarms. He would shout, "The hawks are coming," or "The hunters are near," and then lead the animals to safety, reinforcing their dependence on him. These white nights, as he called them, kept the animals in a state of constant alertness and reliance on Felix. As time passed, some animals began to feel uneasy. They missed their families and friends outside the group. They also noticed that Felix's promises of a utopian forest never materialized, and they were still living in the same old forest, now with more restrictions. One day, a wise old turtle named Tommy, who had been observing from afar, decided to approach the group. Tommy had heard about Felix's ways and wanted to help the animals see the truth. Tommy spoke to the animals individually, reminding them of their families and the freedom they once had. He encouraged them to think for themselves and not to blindly follow Felix. At first, the animals were hesitant, as they had been taught to distrust outsiders, but Tommy's words resonated with them, especially with Ruby and Benny, who had started to question Felix's leadership. Tommy also revealed that Felix's magic was just tricks and illusions. He showed them how Felix created the shadow of the hawk using a leaf and light. Slowly, the animals began to talk among themselves, sharing their doubts and realizing that they had been manipulated. They decided to leave Felix's group and return to their normal lives, where they could make their own choices and connect with their loved ones. Felix, seeing his group dwindling, tried to use fear and guilt to keep them. He said, "If you leave, the hawks will get you, and you'll be alone and unprotected." But the animals had seen through his tactics. They left, stronger and wiser for the experience. The moral of the story is, beware of those who use fear, emotion, agitation, and repetition to control others. Always think critically, question authority, and value your freedom and connections with others.